You mentioned there you've been coaching over in America. Is it Nashville FC? And that's all part of the coaching that you do, of course. You're part of the Republic of Ireland setup as well, aren't you?
Yeah, obviously the manager of Ireland, Martin O'Neill, very kindly allowed me to go out for the summer to do some coaching. I'm really interested in the position-specific coaching, and mainly in the art of taking players on. Because for me, the hardest thing in the game is to score a goal. Then after that is to take a player on, and that's why we don't see so much of it, So over the last 10 years, I guess I've been working on a bit of a formula to try and break it down to offer up to wingers to help them in the process of taking a player on and get the practice in that's needed. Because it is quite a lonely old place out there when you have a player to take on, because you might lose the ball. And
right next to the fans as well if you lose it as well.
Of course, graveyard shift out on the wing. But there's different levels of bravery. There was the Jerry Taggart bravery where you're flying in with headers and tackles. But there is a bravery in taking players on as well. And you do see it every week where players turn that down, not for the right reasons. If they have a 1v1 situation, they turn it down because maybe they just lack a bit of confidence. So, I believe in it that we, if you practice through repetitions, you practice during the week, then maybe you think you've worked harder than the fullback you'll be up against at the weekend, and might just give the players the confidence to actually at least try and do it. And if they become good at it, then obviously it's a massive asset to the team.
Is that one thing you really try and emphasise with the player then, about the confidence, just sort of when you get the ball, be positive and take your
role? I think it stands to reason really. If you work at it, do the repetitions. To me, if you can go up and beat a player, like drop your shoulder and go past a player without realising you've done the trick, then you are a player. It takes years of repetitions to be able to do that. If you've got to think about it, you can still do it, but it's you very rarely get that nice 15-yard run up at a defender where you can think about it. Normally it's instant. You have to think about it. No, you can't think about it. So the top players just do it without thinking, and it's only through practice. So that's something that I really believe in. And then there's other things, like other little things that you can throw at the defenders to put them off. I could be all night talking about it.
I was going to say, it's quite ironic that that's the sort of line of coaching that you're concentrating on, because myself and Steve used to spend many an hour out on the training pitch after the main coaching session had finished, and I used to defend Steve one-on-ones. So I would go out in the full-back area, and he would play balls to each other, and he would take me on, and it was like the best of 10 or first of 10, whatever. So we spend a lot of time out there. So it's quite ironic how it sort of morphed itself into this, dossier of coaching, at the technical side of wing play, let's say.
Who would usually win out the two of you there?
Well, it was interesting actually, because I think, if you don't mind me saying, early on, I was in when we had a little tournament, I was on top. But then Jerry very quickly grew into it, and then I think it helped both of us.
Yeah.
One thing about tags, and this is one of the things when you talk to the wingers, I knew if I got too close to Jerry and he got his arm on me, it was all over. It was good night. So that was something that I had to really improve on, and he certainly improved me as a winger, because I knew I had to be sharp, I had to do these things, and because you do it every day, you get used to your tricks as well. So they have to be really your best trick to beat him. So and these are things that I just don't see wingers working at. I think if you do go around the country watching players doing extra training, it tends to be shooting because it's enjoyable. But we enjoyed that. We enjoyed
it was great. It definitely improved me as a defender. It quickened my feet up when centre forwards were running at me. It definitely quickened my feet, and I was able to turn from side to side quicker. Even though with Steve, I was defending out on the wings, but you can still bring that into your own position and use it to good effect. So yeah, it was great.
Of course, you had some great memories together playing on the same team. We've seen Leicester City progressing in the League Cup just this week, and probably your favourite memories, would you say, as a player, that League Cup final with the 2 assists against Tranmere?
Yeah, no, they were obviously fond memories. To lose out the year before in the last minute was pretty brutal, and then to go back the following year and win it. Those 2 goals for Matty. Matty got a nice new contract. I got a pat on the back. But the guys who score the goals get the prizes, I guess. But the one thing about those corners is that how Martin O'Neill used to set it up for the corner takers. He'd always have someone at the near post and someone at the far post. So he gave you the confidence to go, right, if I underhit it, someone at the near post. overhit it, someone at the far post, arcing really wide. So then I had to just concentrate on whipping it in as hard as I could.
Indian area. I say
Yeah.
it was simplicity in itself, the way Leicester used to take their corners, and everyone used to say, do you work hours and hours and hours on the training ground with your set pieces? And we said, no. I said, it's literally Gups or Muzzy puts the ball in a good area, and as you've just said, you had somebody near post, somebody far post, somebody running through the middle. And if you see Matty's goal, he's obviously the one that's running through the middle. I'm round the back, I think, or at the front, and there would be somebody running in round the back or to the front post. And all Gups had to do was put it in a good area with a bit of pace on it. Yeah, and then obviously you have to have the desire for someone to go and head that ball in. But
I think that was the only thing I'd like to add is that you needed players in the box who wanted to get there, and these guys did.
What was it like then, the trophy lift and the celebrations after for you both? Was that, would you say that was the pinnacle of your playing career?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly obviously up there. You know, winning at Wembley in a major cup final was you know, something you dream about. You dream as a kid walking out of the tunnel and all those things. I was lucky to do that a few times at the clubs I've been at, and it was one of those moments in life that actually didn't disappoint you. You know, it was exactly how you imagined it would be. It was brilliant.
yeah, it was all a bit surreal for me, because exactly the same as Gups. You know, you watch the FA Cup, the League Cup growing up as a kid, and then to be standing there, I just remember, the only bit I actually remember is standing at the bottom of the steps before we went up, watching the Tranmere lads coming down and seeing how gutted they were, and then trying to compute what was about to happen. And as you said, we did it the year before, losers medal, but this time we're going up as winners. And I find it hard. I struggled for it to sink in straight away. So yeah, but obviously a great moment for everyone involved.
Well, we've had a couple of questions come in on social media. We've asked some fans to ask you some questions, Steve. So I think the first one that we've got is, where do you think Leicester City will finish at the end of this season? That was from Leo De Rosa, 22.
Obviously, very difficult to, there's some new players bedding themselves in, but I think if Leicester could get it themselves in the top 10, they'd be happy with that, I'm guessing. Obviously, if they have an outstanding season, then obviously European places, but I think top 10 would be very good.
And maybe a repeat of sort of some of the cup final success.
Of course, you know, a cup run would be great.
Okay, the next question up that we've got is, who was the best player that you played alongside during your time at Leicester City? Now, you're not allowed to say Jerry Taggart in this one.
well, obviously I would like to start.
I think that was forefront in his brain anyway.
No, I mean, obviously there were some good players in that team. It was sadly a long time ago, but I think the player that I picked, who I always thought was our best player, was Muzzy, is it? I think he could do it all. He was a hard-working midfielder. You know, he could tackle, he could head, score goals, and he had great vision. He could take players on. You know, he was, you know, but there was obviously Neil Lennon in there as well, and Gary Parker or Robbie Savage, and Emile Heskey up front, Tony Cottee with his near post runs, which were great. So there was a lot of, you know, good players, but for me, you know, Muzzy was our best player.
Would you go along with that?
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, he was a complete midfielder almost, Muzzy. I think if he had obviously a few more kilos on his side, he'd have been another Steven Gerrard type. But he could do everything. He wasn't afraid. He didn't shirk a challenge. He would challenge in the air with his head. As you said, if you watch some of the goals that he scored from range as well, you know, his technique was frightening, and his agility was frightening as well, and he could see a pass. He could do almost everything, was he? Yeah.
Great, and the third and final question that's come in for you, Steve, is what's your favourite goal that you ever scored for Leicester City?
So many to choose from, but I think for the Chelsea goal, I guess was live on Sky, and it was, you know, obviously against Chelsea, and it was a comeback goal. So that was a fond memory. Yeah, I look back on that with a great deal of pleasure.